Didik TV KPM.
Alright, everybody recognizes them as AOs. AO 1, 2, 3, and 4, assessment objectives 1 to 4. Why do we push for students to always practice using them in their answers? Because I commonly am asked, how long should my response be? Teacher, how many words should my essay be? Is it 1 page? Is it 1.5 pages? And I always have to insist on getting them to sit down and taking a look at the assessment objectives. And I have to remind them, if your answer is comprehensive, all right, meaning to say there is a text that you have studied, there is a task that you are answering, your response should indicate knowledge of the text, knowledge of underlying meaning, knowledge of how language has been used in the text, and the ability to provide personal response. If you can do all this, then you are definitely on the right track. All right, so we're looking again at the poem. You know already it's got 4 stanzas, or each stanza is recognized as a sestet, okay, the quatrains and the couplets. We have already taken a look at the various devices that are found in this poem. So what's left would be to take a look at the question. All right? Students need to remember there is no need for fear, anxiety. All right? Poems are always provided before the question. You do not have to worry yourself to sleep wondering if you need to memorize the poem. The poems are provided for you as I have given it to you here. And then we have a question. For 15 marks, as all questions based on poems are valued at 15 marks, you have the question there with close reference to Daffodils by William Wordsworth. Discuss how nature can offer us comfort and joy. Obviously, the first question you're going to ask yourself is, what do I do? How do I answer this? How do I answer this question, teacher? Right. First and foremost, when you look at the question, what are the key words you need to focus on? Take another look with close reference to the poem. Discuss how nature can offer us, and I think you would have already circled or underlined, comfort and joy. So that's what you are going to focus on. So in green, as you can see, is a response outline. I would tell my students, think about how the encounter, that unexpected encounter of meeting and observing the daffodils, has given the persona comfort and joy. All right, that's the first idea I think all of us would have come up with. But in order to get there, you would have to consider what are the devices that have been used in order to convey this memory is a precious memory. This memory is an unforgettable memory. Right? So we're going to begin with one device. And the device here on this slide is personification. Okay. As Hanif asked earlier, personification is a device where we attach or place human traits to non-living things. How does that work in this poem? How do we relate that to comfort and joy? So a child might say, by describing the fields of daffodils as host, as crowd, you look at the choice of words there, we have that opportunity to imagine or visualize the persona being led into a concert venue, for example, a concert hall, for example, and he sits down to watch a delightful and enjoyable performance. That's personification in use. And you have that the daffodils are not just performing for the persona, they are even outdancing the waves in merriment, in pride. It's sort of like the daffodils are saying, we're better dancers than you. And daffodils wouldn't be able to do that, all right? Anybody might say, but they're flowers. No, they're not. Not in this poem. In this poem, daffodils, as you can see here, using the words host and crowd, are like dancers performing for the appreciation of the persona, right? Then you have another possible answer. You might want to say that the device simile as used in this poem, especially in the first two lines, where he says, I wandered, lonely as a cloud. When he likens himself, compares himself to a cloud, floating aimlessly, he is indicating there the sadness and the loneliness that he feels. So you have the simile in use, and that expresses how the persona feels, especially before he meets the daffodils. What happened after that? After that, clearly his mood changes. He is cheered up. The mood is one of joy. He is inspired by what he has seen. Number 3, hyperbole or exaggeration. Now, most of us use hyperbole on a daily basis. I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse. Or I ate so much, I'm going to explode. So those expressions indicate how we feel. And likewise, in this poem, hyperbole or the exaggeration used by the poet indicates to us the persona felt overwhelmed. It took him by such great force. Wow, an amazing sight. 10,000 saw I. And it was such an uplifting discovery because seeing those daffodils obviously made him feel so much better. All right? So those 3 answers are possible answers. You could outline an essay response like this. So you would begin with an introduction, you would talk about the personification, you would discuss the simile, you would discuss the hyperbole, and last but not least, in conclusion, you would say the life of the persona is forever affected or changed after seeing the daffodils. Okay so far?
Yep.
All right.
That is good.
Let's take a look at this discussion question. We've taken a look at the poem. We've taken a look at the sample question and answer. Now let's take a look at this question. How does seeing the dance of the daffodils, or how has, maybe I made a mistake there, how has seeing the dance of the daffodils changed the persona? Is he the same person from the beginning till the end of the poem? No. Right? The daffodils has given such a wonderful effect. Right? How has it changed him and changed him for the better? Hanif, you want to try?
I would try. I would love to try there. I do feel that the daffodils have positively impacted him.
Positively impacted him. Great response.
Because it started with him feeling sad, and that sadness had been uplifted. And he has this sense of joy, appreciation for nature, I believe.
That great transformation from sadness to joy. Okay, let's see if one of my students, let's see if her answer matches yours.
Right, let's take a look together.
Well, firstly, it made the persona realize that the golden daffodils aren't just a flower or a part of the Mother Nature, but it is actually more than just a flower. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. This shows that the persona was absolutely struck by the beauty of the golden daffodils that his gaze was actually transfixed to them. It was so beautiful that they naturally lifted up his mood and made him happy as he saw them dancing sprightly. Secondly, he remembers the happy memories of seeing the dancing golden daffodils whenever he is feeling lonely. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye. It was that precious memories in chosen company that remains and comfort him when he is feeling empty or in deep thoughts.
Well, perhaps does her answer match a
That
bit of my answer,
that
perhaps?
is very much a great match. Thank you to Fatini, my pupil, as well as Hanif. What they have both successfully been able to do is to understand how mesmerizing the daffodils were and how that precious memory is one that will stay perhaps deep within the recesses of his mind. But whenever he faces a struggle, whenever he has a problem he is experiencing, and he's by himself, thinking about what to do, what's the next step he should take, suddenly he is inspired by that memory. And that memory of seeing the daffodils and how it made him feel will guide him to overcome the challenges and tribulations of life.
I love how 1A said that. So with beautiful memories, you're able to overcome, you're able to offset all these trials and tribulations that we go through
of life,
in our daily lives. Yes. And 1A, can we have a summary of what we have learned together today?
Together, what we looked at prose. In particular, we looked at the short story, Embracing Your Shadow, the importance of communication, love, and trust. And in poetry, we took a look at daffodils, how we, after reading that iconic romantic poem, must open our eyes and appreciate all the beauty that nature has.
I fully agree to that because nature is beautiful, and of course it is also our responsibility, on a side note, to always preserve the beauty of our nature, and that's very key.
Didik TV KPM